I joked to start the show. I'm like, we do the same show after a Bengals loss every time because they lose the same way every time. And it's wild. The games that they had, there's some games that they've won where the offense was not very good. They were horrible against the Browns and won. They were horrible against the Giants and won. But man, if the offense played against the Giants and Browns the way that they have against everybody else, if the offense plays against the Patriots in week 1 the way they have everybody else, those are 2 wins already, Giants, Browns, but those are blowout wins instead of nail-biter wins like they were. But every loss is the same. We talk about it every time, how the stats that Joe Burrow puts up, the way he plays, the way Jamar Chase plays, this offense, the way they just produce, and the fact that they're trying everything they can in the fourth quarter down the stretch to come away with the win and narrowly coming away with the loss every time. And it's wild, too, because there were moments, guys, where the Steelers were up big, and I'm like, yeah, this game, it felt like it should be done. But just every time I thought it was done, I was about to change it, they'd come right down the field. It's 1st and goal, and they punch it in the end zone with a couple minutes left. And you're like, Bengals still have a shot. They always have a shot. They just haven't been able to capitalize on it because that's how freaking bad this defense was. Look, I like Russell Wilson. I've been higher on Russell Wilson than you guys have when, he went to Pittsburgh. I know you guys wanted Justin Fields. We've been back and forth on that. I thought a veteran guy like that going in with the George Pickens and a run game and that defense, it's exactly what the doctor ordered for them. They've been great since then. Russell Wilson's good. That offense is okay. They're not as good as what they looked yesterday. You talked about it, Jake. That was turn back the hands of time. Russell Wilson yesterday.
Yeah.
He will not have a game like that the rest of his career unless they play Cincinnati again. That's the only thing at this point. Russell Wilson's not as good as he was yesterday. That offense is not as good as they were yesterday. In fact, Pittsburgh had not scored more than 14 points in a half all season. They doubled that in the first half yesterday. This defense is a huge, huge problem. We talked about that to open the show. But, Elliot, I'll toss it to you. I know you had some thoughts about the coaching at this point, and none of these are hot takes. Everyone's been critical of coaching throughout the year. But as the losses continue to pile up, it's one thing if they're getting blown out because of how bad the defense is. But when you're losing this many close games, a lot of times we give credit to coaches who win one-possession games, who win close games. Zach Taylor's losing close games, even with the deficiencies on defense. Like, you're one better decision away from coming out on top in these one-possession games. They're not doing it. They're losing these games. Coaching, obviously, at the top of the when you rank all the priorities or the deficiencies with this team. Elliot, where are you at with the coaching at this point? I know people are tired of hearing it, but it's the reality, and that's how sports works. The Bears moved on from their coach when that loss pushed them over the edge. Was this loss enough to push a lot of Bengals fans over the edge, in your opinion?
Yeah, well, this was it because this was the final nail in the coffin. This was the death punch, and there's nothing left to cheer for. If you win that game yesterday, it's almost significantly worse for all of us. It's just because you have to keep acting and pretending like the Bengals have a chance, that the Bengals are worth something, and they're not. The defense has, as Jacob said earlier, it's gotten worse.
Yesterday was their worst game of the season.
Coming out of a bye week. You had 2 weeks. That's what you look like 2 weeks off. That's insane. Sorry, Elliot.
No, you're good. It's gotten significantly worse. And I'm not going to sit here and say that the talent on the defensive side of the football is anything that's close to being worth a damn. But there has to be some semblance of a reason that they give up. They had a pick six yesterday, and it was like it was nothing. They had the Bengals defense returned an interception for a touchdown. They scored 44 points. The other team scored 44 points and won the game. There's no words left. If I were the Bengals, and I'm not, but if I were, I'd look at the coaching staff, and then I'd look at Joe Burrow, who's getting paid $55 million a year, and I'd say that is more important than whatever we got going on over here in the other circle. The coaching staff as a whole, it's time to move on. It's time to move on. Lou Anarumo, whatever good defense he had in the past or whatever defense we gave him credit for, that's gone. Zero. I don't even blame Lou Anarumo. It's like he's not I think he's probably number 3 on my coaches / staff who I'm mad at. Zach Taylor, I was talking in our group chat yesterday. He's an offensive mind, right? He's in control of the offense. What about is it not your responsibility to look after what the hell happens on the defensive side? It's like, you guys remember The Office when I forget who's Saber came in. Saber came in, and you have Michael Scott and Jim. Jim was in charge of the day-to-day, and Michael Scott was big picture. And she looks at him, Joy Bennett, and she goes, hey, so I'm paying you each to do half a job. Zach Taylor shouldn't get credit because he does half a job. That's what he's doing. He's doing
Can I interrupt you right there?
half the job.
I'm interrupting you. I'm very impressed with that. I like that. That's a good time. I like that. I'm a bad interrupter. I get that. But this one I'm intentionally interrupting to say nice analogy. I love that. I want to steal that. That was excellent. Continue. We've hit pause. I'm hitting resume. Very well done. I love that. I love The Office, and I love anytime you can like intermingle it to a sports take. That was very well done, Elliot. Keep going.
I'm not gonna sit here and I'm not gonna give the head coach half credit. And really it's 1/3 credit because the special teams unit looks like trash as well. Evan McPherson, congratulations on sneaking by the way, a hooked field goal from 33 yards. Congratulations on that make. The team is terrible as a whole. Congratulations to the offense. They've figured it out. And if Zach Taylor was only brought in to just ignore 2/3 of the team, he's done a great job. The offense looks good. I have a hard time believing that's the role of a head coach. I have a hard time believing Andy Reid doesn't take a good glance at the other 2/3 of the team. Other coaches do it. I don't know why our coach gets the pass because the offense looks the best it's ever been. Defense is the worst in the history of sports. The special teams unit's been terrible all season long. It's a disaster. I'm not going to give him credit. He gets no credit from me. Zero. Zach Taylor, whether or not he's going to get fired, I don't even care. The fact of the matter is, there is nobody on this planet that should sit here and think Zach Taylor's been doing enough this season. He hasn't. There is one thing that matters when you are a coach, and that is your win-loss record. For 2 years, he has failed. Somehow, by the grace of God, he won 9 games last year, and that's saving him right now. But it's time to move on. It's time to move on. It's time to reset the franchise. You're going to get a top 12 pick. So let's make the most of it. Let's hire somebody who knows what they're doing. And let's move on. Lou Anarumo, bye-bye. It's definitely Lou Anarumo's time to go. But if I were the Bengals,
if he makes it to the end of the show, I'm going to be a little bit upset.
But it's like I don't know what else to do. The Bears at least realized after one of the most disgusting losses truly of all time, they're like, all right, we're done.
And they've never fired a coach in the season in their 100-year history, 100-plus year history. Maybe the Bengals do something?
You can't possibly think that Zach Taylor is the answer. What was he saying? Every game's an opportunity still. We got a great opportunity. I know he has to say that. Like, that's like you can't come up there and say, I quit. But it's over. You've lost it. You had the best season a quarterback and wide receiver duo could possibly have, and you've lost everything. So moving forward, and I'll hear Jacob's thoughts here, I'm not giving Zach Taylor credit for doing 1/3 of the job.
I think we have helped the rest of the NFL. We have officially figured out how far away from Sean McVay you can be before you're not worth a damn.
Yeah.
It's the quarterback's coach. Because Shane Waldron was also hired to be the Bears OC from the quarterback's coach position of McVay. Taylor, the quarterback's coach for the Rams before he came to the Bengals. So that is the furthest point in the Rams staff that you can be from McVay and still be a good coach. So shout out the rest of the league. They now know that. In terms of firing Taylor, I've been a Taylor defender a lot longer than most. And I think the main takeaway from that is that I don't think their Bengals are going to fire him, at least going into Sunday's game. So I didn't want to put all my eggs in the basket of I won't be in on this team next year if he's the coach. After yesterday, I don't know how you keep him as the head coach. I just don't know how you do it. It's been so bad. I can't watch that game yesterday and think that we're going to rattle off these 3 wins in a row that we've been counting as 3 wins in a row all year. Cowboys, Browns, Titans, there's no way we win all 3 of those games. This defense can't play 3 good games in a row. Mason Rudolph's going to throw for 400 yards. The other reason I think Zach Taylor should be talked about as staying is because the name that's being thrown around, or names that are being thrown around to replace him, are just more guys that are going to be asked to do 1/3 of the job. I want to go hire someone that's not a play caller. I want to go hire a Dan Campbell. I want to go hire a defensive guy, a culture guy. Not an offensive coordinator who's going to come and call an offense that can score 40 points, because we have that. I have faith in Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and the pieces of that offense that they can take most of that on their own shoulders. And I don't necessarily mean calling plays or coaching the offense or anything like that. I'm saying they don't need a lot of help to be great. So I wouldn't go hire an offensive coordinator as a head coach. I'd go hire a guy on defense that can turn this defense around without a ton of talent. Because I don't think the Bengals can hold their breath and wait till they have a talented defense. There's way too many pieces that aren't NFL players right now. You got to go get a defensive guy to take over the head coach position if and when you fire Taylor. Or if you keep Taylor, you got to fire Lou Anarumo and go get a real defensive coordinator that can take over that side of the ball. And I'm talking about a Matt Eberflus, a Brandon Staley, a Dennis Allen, a guy that's been a head coach, been fired, knows how to run a team, knows how to run a defense, is creative with their coverages and blitzes to a point where they might not need top-end talent. I think that's the Bengals' most realistic option to success. And if that's a head coach that can do that, that's great. If it's keeping Taylor and hiring a defensive coordinator that we think can do that, that's great. I still don't necessarily think the Bengals are going to fire Taylor unless out of these last 5 games they lose 3 of them.
Do you not think that's a possibility?
No, I think it's a possibility. But I'm saying I think that's what's required.
I guess that's. I mean, it's just like you can't watch them and say that the coaching staff is doing a good job. That's over now. Good teams with good quarterbacks, guess what? They don't miss the playoffs. Very rarely. Very rarely do they miss the playoffs. Last year was that rarely. They get an excuse for that. There is zero. This is the easiest schedule I've truly ever seen, and they've failed at an all-time level. Sorry, Casey, go ahead.
So I was on your guys' side pretty much all day yesterday until I decided to listen to the post press conference interviews with the players after the game was over. And I listened to it, listened to Joe, listened to Jamar, listened to T, listened to Jermaine Pratt. And
he guaranteed a win. He guaranteed a win.
He said tackling.
Oh, he pulled a Kinner. He pulled a
Pratt.
Kinner. That's what he did.
Pratt's one was interesting. I'm going to save that one for last because I think Joe Burrow kind of said it without really saying it. And that was the guys need to play hard. They need to play hard because the tape is out there for other GMs to look at. To me, that sounds like maybe they're not playing as hard. They're not playing as on top of it as they should. And that's really caused a lot of the issues. They're not making plays. And as I'm coming into work today, I'm listening to Jermaine Pratt, and all he can say is Russell Wilson's getting the ball out quick. We're not fast enough to make a play. And I'm going, that's the answer. They don't have guys on this defense to make a play. They're not fast enough. They're not experienced enough to make plays when it matters. And that's the whole difference of the game. You can point at the turnovers and say that's the difference of the game, and it really is. One turnover is the difference in that game, and that's a fumble 6. It is. It's just guys not making plays, and they've said that all year long, and it's tired. It's annoying to hear. But this roster is just not good enough. And I was so hell-bent on believing that it was the coaching staff, but I feel like Lou has no other choice but to play prevent defense, because if he doesn't play prevent, it's just bombs away. Pickens is wide open down the field. If they don't have 8 guys dropping, they will have wide open receivers for 30 yards, 40 yards, 50 yards for touchdowns. Now, you get the 13, dump it off to the running back for 12 yards every play, but at least they're slowing them down a little bit. Otherwise, they're going to give up 2-minute, 80-yard, 4-play touchdowns like they did against the Chargers. Yeah. So it's like I there's a lot of blame to go around, but I don't think this coaching staff has the answers at all for what the roster is. They don't have what has been presented to them since the beginning of the season. They don't have the answers. And quite frankly, maybe we would have had better answers if Dax Hill and DJ Turner didn't get hurt. Maybe. It might have looked a little different. But I don't know, guys. It feels like we aren't that far away, but we're super far away. And I just don't know if it's because it's the coaching staff, because I've seen what Lou can do with just 1 or 2 more guys. I mean, this defense is not that far away from what it was in 2021. They're
On
missing
paper.
on paper. On paper. That's what I'm getting at. It's like on paper, they're a Jesse Bates and a DJ Reader away from really being something different. And I just don't know, like, is it really that? I don't know. I just can't blame coaching staff when even the players themselves are going, we're not fast enough, we're not strong enough, we're not making plays, we're not trying hard. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when the players themselves, and I know that they want to take accountability for themselves, but when they are the ones saying, like, especially Pratt, that's the one that's really got me off on the coach's take. When he himself is saying, Russell Wilson is just getting the ball out quick, and that he's asked, is there anything that you could do schematically to change the game plan? And he goes, no, we're just not fast enough. I think that tells you everything you need to know. The players are just not good enough, period.
They're dead last in getting to the quarterback. I agree with Casey. I mean, I just think that when you're a coaching staff, a head coach in the NFL, and you see this issue consistently happen week after week and there's no answer for it, falls on you. It's your responsibility. It's great that he calls the best offense in the league. He also calls the worst defense in the league. So I just we can even it out however you want. It's time to move on. You're paying your quarterback $55 million. He's an MVP if he's on any other roster this year, and this is the way we've gone. We've lost every close game under the sun. Every other team wins those games. Bengals haven't gotten any luck this year. Not that you can just blame it all on luck, but that's the fact of the matter. And the Bengals beat bad teams. The Bengals are a bad team. The Bengals are a bottom 5 team in the NFL right now. They're horrible, truly atrocious. So if we'll see what happens against the Cowboys. There's 6-point favorites in that game. I don't know who made that line. I don't know why we made that line. In my mind, I would put every dollar I have on the Cowboys. I'm done betting on the Bengals, though. I'm done. I just can't. I mean, it's nonsense. But it's like we don't know. We don't know. We don't have enough answers for who they are, and that's not a good thing heading into next season. That's not a good thing because we're about to lose T. Higgins. You lose T. Higgins. Where's Jermaine Burton? What did he do yesterday?
Oh, you want to know how many snaps he played yesterday?
Was he inactive?
No, he played 2 snaps.
What did he do?
No, he just played 2 snaps.
Okay, he was just out there?
Yeah.
Good. So you're going to have to go into the draft. You're going to have to draft another wide receiver. Jermaine Burton's gone.
High.
Bye-bye.
Like high in the draft.
Bye-bye, Jermaine Burton. And then you're going to have to replenish the defense as well. So now you got to replenish the offense that's been incredible this year and the defense that's been atrocious. They're not good at drafting. Whose responsibility is that?
The guy that's been the GM for 25 years?
That as well. But the coaching staff also, I believe, has some responsibility in drafting.
Well, we should be better this year. They're going to have a lot more time to scout.
That's right.
I mean, the last couple of years, they've been playing right up until the end of the season. These guys haven't been able to get out and scout their position groups. So maybe this year getting a 5-week head start.
That might be it. That might be the key.
We'll draft to the moon. Best draft class of all time.
With 6 draft picks, by the way.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. Khalil Herbert's been awesome.
Oh, no.